work hard, and you try to find players that make the Cleveland Browns win, and that's what it comes down to. I mean, you gotta go through this whole thing. You got to see the movie to the end.
Look! No! It can't be. What is? It can't be. What did you do, Ray? Oh, shit.
It's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Something I loved from my childhood. Something that could never, ever possibly destroy us. Mr. Stay Puft.
Nice thinking, Ray.
It's Matty and Patty, coast to coast from Brooklyn. This is Pat McMenamin to San Francisco. It's Matt Youngner. Say hello, Matty.
Patty, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, the Cavs are 6-1. I'm a happy guy.
Feels good, doesn't it? My Sunday was so nice yesterday.
Oh, it was beautiful. It was just beautiful. Sun was shining. I had no dark cloud in the horizon, and I had a Cavs game ahead of me. And I knew I was going to be able to watch a Cleveland sports team that didn't suck. It was pretty exciting.
Oh,
it was amazing.
That made my Monday better.
It made everything better. It made Sunday itself better. It made Monday better. The whole week is better because of this.
Think how good that bye week's going to feel.
It's going to be a beautiful thing. It's going to be a beautiful
sweet
thing.
Bye week. Best week of the year.
Best week of the year, my friend. Welcome to the Cleveland Sports Hour with Matty and Patty. We are two self-aware but unapologetic homers who spend far too much time watching, reading, and thinking about the Cavs, Browns, and Tribe. So if you like the informed, intelligent Cleveland fans' perspective, you've come to the right place. Nice thinking, Ray. Matty, on a week where we were blessed not just by a Sunday without a Browns game, as you mentioned, but also by a Sunday with a Cavs game, it would be so nice if we could open this podcast with an exclusively optimistic Cavs note.
Yeah, aren't we? We're not doing any Browns talk, right? Didn't we talk about that?
Yeah, I'd like to not do any Browns talk, Matty, but
we have to, huh?
The Browns still found a way to Browns.
It's pretty incredible when you think about it that way.
That's how impressive it was. This is a Sunday they didn't have a game. They played on Thursday night. But, we would have forgotten about it by then. But, Matty, it was so bad, not just the game, but the other shit that was happening, trying to trade all of our best players away for, pretty shit deals. An embarrassing press conference, which we started this podcast off with. Like Dr. Ray Stentz in Ghostbusters, I'm sure Ray Farmer means well. When told he must choose the form of our destructor, rather than not think of anything, Ray chooses to think of something positive and comforting from his childhood, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Now, our Ray told us all to have patience, that we're only halfway through the movie. If you stop watching now, you might come away with the impression that the Browns are being crushed like the Upper West Side by a 50-foot marshmallow monster, and will be summarily destroyed by Gozer the Gerzerian. But, Matty, we have not seen the end of this movie, have we?
We have not. There's so much to happen.
The Browns could decide to risk it all, cross the streams, and show that prehistoric bitch how we do things back in the land.
Oh, yeah.
Or, more likely, Dr. Venkman has it right, and Ray has gone bye-bye.
Yeah. Sadly, I think that's what's going to happen.
That's maybe what's going on here. I was just thinking about how I've been pretty down on Mike Pettin for a while this year, right?
For a long while.
And I started to kind of turn around on him when I heard Ray Farmer talk.
Right?
I was like, you know what? Maybe I've been too harsh on Mike Pettin. He's got to work for that asshole. Not that asshole, that jackass. That was a disaster. That was a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man stomping on the Upper West Side disaster of a press conference.
It's unbelievable that he has that job.
It's unbelievable.
I think it's crazy that in the most powerful nation in the world, the most powerful sport that we have, we could find athletes from anywhere. You can't find 32 good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
How the fuck can you not find 32 good GMs? And this is what we're dealing with. That's even crazier.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
It's not that surprising to me, honestly, just because you can't really find, like, I work in the media. I gotta tell you, there really aren't that many great, program heads of the media company. It's a hard fucking job, and this is a hard job too. But
For
then,
sure, but you know what they do with hard jobs? You pay them obscene amounts of money.
right? But it's hard to identify the guys who are good at their job because you don't know until they've had a chance to draft. You can talk a big game, but until you get a chance to show yourself, it ain't there. At the same time, though, you'd think you'd see their track record with evaluating talent.
Yes.
Hopefully that's enough. And you mix it with, like, you can probably it's easier to tell guys who are good at managing an organization, right? Organizing and delegating personnel to do the jobs for you. And I think that's the problem, is that Ray maybe showed some talent at evaluating players when he was a scout. And
then they made the mistake of thinking he could do the rest. I mean, also the circumstances of his hiring were terrible.
Yeah. This is also true.
He didn't earn that job so much as they just fired the guy who was ahead of him. It was too late to hire anybody else.
This is true.
They had a sort of okay last year, and his draft looked sort of okay, and now here we are.
Yeah. Well, so that's why I started the podcast off with Nice Thinking, Ray, and that's what I'm calling this episode.
Yeah, it's good. We're going to hear a lot about Ray's thinking.
Yes, we will.
Not too much.
Well, not too much. Yes. Yeah. Now, Maddie, you built the rundown this week. A change of pace. So either this will finally be a good episode, or more likely it will totally stink, and it's all going to be your fault.
I'll get fired from that job immediately. Probably.
Yeah. Yes. Probably. It'll be more accountability than the Browns ever show. Well, no, whatever. The Browns fire people left and right. What am I talking about?
Oh, that's true. Accountability, just no plan.
There's no plan, exactly. So tons of Cavs stuff to get to. We're going to talk about this week's games. They were closer than they should have been, or just early business as usual stuff. But we'll update the power kill list. Then we'll look at the week ahead with another installment of Most Likely To. But first, Maddie, let's do our civic duty. Let's hold our noses. We'll talk about the Browns for a few more minutes here.
Ugh,
that's right. Hey, Maddie, did Bo play?
Did he play, my friend?
He did?
Played. I think he caught one or two first down passes. He made it into Terry Pluto's column the next day.
Terry Pluto's column. That's the big time.
I know. That's when you know somebody's made it, Patty, when he's in the scribbles. Asking why he wasn't playing more. Saying he looked like he could give us what Miles Austin gave us last year. That's damning with faint praise.
Oh, God.
He was in there, though.
Yeah.
Looking better than our boy Taylor Gabriel.
Well, Taylor Gabriel just looked – he's that was a hot mess.
I don't want to be hard on the guy.
No, because
that's
also –
a way to play yourself out of the league.
Yeah, it is. And it's too bad also because, the only reason he got those opportunities to embarrass himself was because he got fucking open, which is something that Dwayne Bowe can't do.
Yeah, that's true.
Dwayne Bowe wasn't even open on those things. We just got it in there. What's more annoying about the Dwayne Bowe thing is I was, a bunch of national, because it was on national TV, so a bunch of national, pundits were saying, boy, how clueless are the Browns? This guy's not playing. He's a leading receiver in the game. It's like, you guys clearly don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Haven't been watching any of the games, or obviously watching that closely. They weren't that impressive. They look.
It's like a child that wanders into the middle of a movie.
Yeah, exactly. But Bomani Jones, you might have heard of. He's like I think on some of the sports shows occasionally. He tweeted that out, saying like, it's just it's a good question, man. No, it's not. No. The one question he had where he stretched for that first down, it showed some strength, but he just looked old and slow and just kind of heavy. Am I right?
Doesn't Bomani Jones just feel like a thinking man, Stephen A. Smith?
Yeah.
Oh, not a lot of thinking, but a thinking man's.
I think this calls for us to tweet this podcast at him and say, my friend just called you the thinking man, Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, man. I don't know if I can handle that kind of
notoriety. That's a pretty good burn, though, I got to say, having never met him.
It feels like he occupies that niche a lot on those shows. I don't watch him so much, but whenever
it's true.
Tune in.
Yeah, to be fair,
he's not as bombastic.
He's not bombastic or completely clueless as Stephen A. But
He has his
Not
moments.
far sometimes. Certainly, this was one. The Dwayne Bowe team savior. All right, game analysis. This team sucks, right?
Yeah, I don't know how much I need to talk about the details of this game. We're bad.
Just they're awful
Right? The defense was terrible. I mean, we'll talk about this in 1 second.
from the get-go. Just terrible.
Yeah, I mean, the offense showed some life in the first half, and maybe Manziel showed us a little something, but the defense is just terrible. And I know it's beat up and whatever else, but for God's sakes, we've been talking about it all year. That's Pettin's calling card. That's where we've made all our investments, the majority of our investments in the draft and free agency, and we have not gotten our money's worth, my friend.
Joe Posnanski has been writing a weekly series. We talk about it every week. It's fantastic. If you guys aren't reading it, you need to look it up and read it and read all the back columns. He writes one for every week. He nailed the 2 plays, I think, that summarized how embarrassingly bad this defense was. On one play, 3rd down, right, a key 3rd and 8 or something like that, something like a good situation.
Game still within reach.
We were within 4 points of them, right?
I think it was 17-10 at that point.
17-10. All right, well, it was
Within the
close.
score.
The game was totally within reach. Marvin Jones trips on the line of scrimmage, right? No one's covering him, but he trips. Thank God, he trips and falls down.
We're saying
He gets back up, keeps running. Still, no one's covering him. Still, nobody's covering this guy. And he gets wide open for a screen pass and takes it for 30 yards. Very next play, a reverse that, I mean, Josh Podanski says it hasn't worked since 1929. That's not quite fair. I definitely saw it work in the 80s with the Browns when they were good. But that may have been the last time reverses worked. And it worked so well that the quarterback was blocking and had no one to block because the whole team was still chasing the first running back. I mean, this is like Tecmo Super Bowl when you pick the wrong play.
Yeah.
And Bo Jackson's on the other team. Perfectly opposite pick play, and it just was just destruction.
And that game had the feel of inevitability to it, like so many of the games this year, right? Like the other team's just gonna. I mean, it's a little bit of the reverse of the Cavs. Right?
Yeah.
Like, the other team is just better. They can screw around with us for a little bit, not take us seriously, but eventually they'll think, all right, we got to dispatch with this team, and they did. So let's. I don't want to talk too much more about that. What about the interesting thing from the game, which was Johnny Football looking somewhat respectable. Poznanski was harsh on his second half, which wasn't great, but I also don't know that was entirely his fault. I saw him throw a couple really nice balls. Gabriel dropped, but I think the offensive line disintegrated around him a couple times. Pat, he has to start the rest of the games this year, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And it comes down to, Pat McManaman, my namesake, not to be confused with me, had a nice column on ESPN pointing out that the only reason to start Josh McCown the rest of this year is if they're coaching for their jobs.
Yep. That's it.
And that's an indictment of Haslam, right?
It's an indictment of the entire organization. We'll get into this. This is what's screwed up about this team in a nutshell. What's happening right now?
Yeah, you can't blame
with this issue.
Yeah, exactly. You can't blame Pettine for starting McCown, who clearly gives them the better chance to win, without a doubt. I agree. He clearly gives them a chance to win right now than Manziel, but there's no future with McCown. This is a lost season. Like you got to call it now. We're 2-6, 2-7. I can't remember anymore.
2-7 now.
2-7.
Right? Yeah, we haven't had a bye. 2-7.
It's done. We're not running the table. We're not fucking running the table. Just stop. It's over. Let it go. We've got a near half a football season left to play. Let's craft an offense and see how it works around Johnny Manziel. There's no other point. The only reason that we don't do that is because Haslam's going to fire them in a year.
And there's no organizational I mean, think about all the stuff that this means. All the talk about coming into the year and last year that Farmer and Pettine were on the same page, playing from the same book, on the same team, in lockstep. There's no way that can be true.
Yeah. No,
there's just no way on this issue. You have to have a plan organizationally, be able to see it through, and then deal with the other issues. That's what Poznanski's column really gets into, right? Is that we do not have that organizationally.
Mm-hmm.
We try something, we give up on it immediately and move on. And I think this will get into the crux of maybe some disagreement that you and I have, Pat.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. But before we leave Johnny Football, so one of the big things that Joe was harsh on him because he was great in the first half, scrambling outside the pocket, had those great throws for that great throw for a touchdown. And at halftime, Pettine was talking about how he has to calm down and stay in the pocket, and make throws. But Marvin Lewis said the one problem they had was to keep Johnny in the pocket. And he was like, this is the rare occasion you have two coaches in agreement, which means one of them is spectacularly wrong. And that guy is Pettine in this case. And, to a certain extent, that's true. But, in terms of the immediate game and winning, yeah, probably, you're going to get – if Johnny gets out of the pocket more, great. But – I got to think in some sense, Pettine is thinking long term because you can't have your entire game out of the pocket. That's not how quarterbacking works. You can't run bootlegs every single play; they'll destroy you. It's a very easy, simple way to stop a quarterback from making plays. It has to be part of the arsenal for sure. But for that part of the arsenal to be devastating and dangerous, you have to be effective as a pocket passer, and that's what they're focusing on. And frankly, I think the biggest extent of his improvement has been the fact that he's been a better pocket passer, which then allows him to make plays when he does get out of the pocket. Yeah. So I feel like Pettine wasn't really wrong there. I feel like neither coach was wrong about that.
It means they were just saying slightly different things.
Yes, exactly. I think they were saying different things, and I think what they've done with Manziel is commendable. And it makes you think, yeah, I want to see how he plays the rest of the year. Give him a whole, half a season to get getting better at the pocket game.
It's unconscionable for it not to happen.
No,
seriously unconscionable.
It's just stupid. We've wasted the first round pick on two guys now, one of whom is completely worthless. And
the other one should be we should be playing Gilbert too, by the way.
Yeah, that's true. But whatever. I don't give a shit. He's terrible, and he's not going to get any better. He's lost. But I agree. This is the point. Like last year, Joe Thomas, the guys were upset when we put Johnny Manziel in because we were giving up at the season, and it was still close. That was a good point. We were 7-4. By the time that happened, we were what, 7-7, 7-6. Yeah, I agree. That's the wrong time to be giving up. And maybe I had a different take at the time, but looking back, that's one where you stick with the guy, stick with the hot hand. But now 2-7, just fucking come on, guys. Just
it's time.
Play the kids, see what we got, and move on to next year, right?
No, there is no question about it in my mind. It's not. It shouldn't be a topic of conversation, and it is the example right now of how broke this organization is.
Yeah. Now moving on to the other Poznanski paradox. He points out the theme in his pieces is continuity is key, right? Marvin Lewis has been with the Bengals for 13 years since 2002.
Yeah.
And a lot of the guys, Mike Andrew-Kanich, actually, one of our friends who gave me a hard time on Facebook about saying the Bengals were a model for why you don't fire Pettine. Man, everyone was saying Marvin Lewis should be fired, especially in Cincinnati. Like
for years, I know plenty of Bengals fans who wanted him gone.
Yeah. So, so please drop the smugness with the, you should have followed our model. You guys are lucky you have a fucking crazy old school owner who is normally terrible.
Yes.
Mike Brown has done mostly terrible things. He happened to be terrible in the right way this one time. It's the whole, broken watch is right twice a time. That's all this is. But good for them. But the problem is continuity doesn't work if you have the wrong fucking guy.
Right, and that's the big. I mean, this is the theme with the Browns week to week for us, right? Is do we think we have the right guy or not?
Yep.
And you increasingly think no. I don't know. Increasingly, I think I continue to say, without a demonstrably better option out there, and with the belief that coaches can improve in the same way players can improve. Mm-hmm. I stick with them, and I think there are benefits to that.
Counterpoints. Sean Payton might be available, I hear.
I mean, Sean Payton might not be employed by another NFL team at the end of this year. Available to the Browns is a very different matter.
There's no chance he's coming to Cleveland. It was sort of facetious. But the news is that if he loses the GM, I think, or whatever, he has an opt-out in his clause. And right. He probably will opt out and go somewhere else, blah, 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 blah. But
this is not going to be that place.
No,
They'll go to
no.
New York when the Giants fire Coughlin, or wherever. There's
Exactly.
a million better options for a coach that's good.
Exactly.
And to come to this mess.
But two, here's what I put forward. It's not about Pettine. It's about Ray Farmer. If you want to keep Pettine, you have to keep Ray Farmer. Let's be honest about this. No new GM is gonna be happy with inheriting a coach. It never happens that way. It'll be almost worse than the shotgun marriage with Ray and Pettine.
That's true. That is a wrinkle that is troubling.
So don't just do it on Pettine. It's on Ray. You trust Ray to do another draft?
No, if you're making me do that, then that's not. I don't like that.
That's why we have to blow it up. It sucks. And here's the bottom line. Here's why we have to play Justin Gilbert and Johnny Manziel. I'm sorry, guys. I'm addressing the Browns starters, the guys who've been there for a long time, like Gilbert. That's like Gilbert, Jesus, Joe Hayden, and Joe Thomas and all those guys. It's got to happen because the only chance we have to get better in the long term is to get a top 2 draft pick.
Yeah.
Our friend Deming and I, Deming made this point a while ago. The only thing now that can attract a decent top line GM is the prospect of having the top pick in the draft.
Yep.
To be able
I think
to
that's what the rest of the year is going to be for us, Pat. Is number 1 draft watch.
Yep, tanking. It's time. It's break up the tank.
Yep. The good news is we have a tough schedule the rest of the way.
That's right. We do have one soft spot against the Niners, but we'll have to see.
Niners just beat the Falcons yesterday.
Oh, that's right. Jeez.
We got Blaine Gabbert.
The Falcons, and this is a funny thing because we were talking earlier about how awesome Mike Shanahan must be, given how good the Browns' offense was with him, and now how good the Falcons' offense is. The Falcons are following a similar pattern the Browns did, starting out real hot and just falling off a cliff. So maybe Mike Shanahan isn't so hot. We'll see. All right, before we move on, the Joe Thomas trade that almost happened. Obviously super glad it didn't happen. But was the supposed deal any good in your opinion?
So it was to Denver for, and I saw a couple mutations of this, but it was first round pick this year. I think initially we wanted their first round pick the next year. They said no to that. Then it was going to be like their first and second for Joe Thomas and our third. I didn't like them. If you could have gotten me 2 first round picks, I might have started thinking about holding my nose and doing it. But
yeah, no, there were a couple.
Was thrown in a third round. I didn't like.
No, there was a couple. The one that I saw that I thought was the one that they were talking about was the first rounder next year, and one of their linebackers, not Von Miller, obviously, but one of their other linebackers that somebody was loosely throwing around that the Ravens thought was the next coming of Ray Lewis, which is really shocking. I don't know why we'd want a guy who's about to murder somebody, but I guess he'd be good at football, but also good at murdering and getting away with it. But the thing is, I don't remember. I didn't recognize either of the names. I'm sure they're good players, but I don't watch the Broncos on a daily basis. And to have some linebacker, some promising young linebacker in a first round for Joe Thomas, that linebacker would have to turn out to be fucking awesome, right? For that to work out, because we're going to blow that first round pick.
Right.
It's going to be a late first rounder. It's a late first rounder too. So the first rounder for sure is not going to get value from Joe Thomas. That didn't happen. I don't think it was actually that close. I've heard talk of it being, they had it made, but they didn't get the paperwork in time, or they.
You heard that?
Oh God, yeah. No, there was a lot of laughing. How bad are the Browns that they saved themselves from a terrible trade by being so awful. That's the only thing that saved them, was they were just so stupid they couldn't finish the trade. I think that was more, that's just shit that sounds like a good story. It's not actually.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So
I'm glad it didn't happen.
Oh God, it's just fucking, what a joke. This fucking team.
This is enough, Browns. I was.
Yeah, I'm done.
I was going to try to play a game with you, Patty. We're not going to play because we spent too much time and it didn't quite work out the way I wanted. But what I was going to do is take quotes from Ray Farmer's press conference and then try to do one of those. It's like, is this Ray Farmer or? And then I was going through and I just couldn't find a really good comp of what else it could, what it could be. It's just so dumb.
Do you have one? Do you have one sample we could play with? Just see if it worked.
Yeah, hold on. I'm leafing through it right now.
Let's try one. That's a pretty good idea.
The questions that get asked in any conversation are strategic. What the hell does that mean?
Is that are you sure that's not George Bush? George W. Bush? You sure?
That's what I should have done is George W. Bush press conferences and Ray Farmer press conferences. Maybe I'll play around with that next week. I don't want to talk more about the Browns though. It's already
no. Or Nick Lelouch quote from Bull Durham. You win some, you lose some, and sometimes it rains. Think about that for a second. All right, Matty.
Let's talk about more fun stuff.
Yes. You start us off in the Cavs, Matty.
So Patty, last week you introduced a new feature.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Called Becca's Ballin'.
Becca's Ballin'.
You also really, I felt, exaggerated her basketball knowledge and prowess, but perhaps not. And we're going to find that out over the season. So I'm curious what her takes this week are. Is it Kevin Love is so hot? Patty, can you please grow a mustache for me? Can you start wearing a hairband like a European? What you got for us this week?
Interesting you say that. Well, first of all, maybe it was too overly harsh on Terry Pluto to compare her knowledge to Terry Pluto. But I thought she had some good takes last week. I thought those were legit.
They're not terrible. I think they might have been seeded by you, maybe, but we'll see what happens.
No. But that's the best part. They weren't at all. I happen to share two of them. That's why, of course, I'm generally impressed by someone's knowledge of something if they happen to agree with me.
Yeah, so. That's true. That goes a long way with you.
It goes a very long way with me. To begin with, no, Matt, Becca is very much not a fan of Kevin Love's mustache.
Whoa.
She saw it the other day. I knew about it because of the costume and the Movember stuff. The guys were growing their mustaches for the Movember charity that benefits prostate cancer awareness. Becca looked at that and said, what the fuck is that? She got really pissed when she saw it. There's this look of disgust over her face. She I asked her before the podcast because I said, "Oh shit, Becca, we're gonna do a Becca's Balling. Do you have any observations?" She really didn't have something. She kind of had to force them up because she wasn't paying that close attention this week because the games weren't that. They were bad teams, so she was show games. She said that she thinks that Kevin Love is trying to undercut his handsomeness with the goofy look.
Oh, that does sound like a take she would have.
Yeah,
this one's real.
It also sounds like Kevin Love.
He's trying to. That's like a humble brag.
Yeah.
Trying to not be so handsome.
Not to be so handsome.
Yeah.
Just trying to look goofy on purpose.
That's what happened.
Do we know anything about Kevin Love's love life? He's not married, right?
No, he's dating an actress.
Okay. Maybe
I can't remember her name. She was on the final season of The Office. She's in something else.
Maybe he's trying not to be so handsome on the road. Just to not to draw too much attention and to keep himself too much. Yeah. Maybe that's what he's doing.
Perhaps.
That's what we were speculating. But let's see. She also tells me that I warned that we might be 0-3 for the first couple of games, but she thinks we're really hitting our stride as a unified team. And I think there's something to that. I mean, we were very pessimistic. We first week we guessed 1-2, right? And we wound up 2-1.
Yep.
So improvement.
I think we both said 3-1 last week, and we were
4-0. So clearly we're underestimating. We're doing really well.
We're being cautious.
We're being cautious, optimistic, and we could have lost a few of those games. Well, no, not really. We only the game against the Pacers was close, really.
Yeah.
But lastly, she says that LeBron's tattoos really do not translate well to HD. I don't get her whole point is it just looks blurry. It's a bunch of blurry ink.
I don't know. I've been looking at those tattoos for so long. I don't know if I
can see them with my eyes closed. It's true.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So that spec is ball a little bit reduced this week.
Okay. Well, tell her to hit the books next week. I want some better stuff.
Ouch. Maddie, are you concerned? We'll work on that. I should look at what games we have if we have any games that she'll watch. But are you concerned about the play this week? I mean, yeah, we won all our games, 4 wins this week. That's awesome. But 3 of them were against teams that, as you put it, stink on ice.
Yep.
And none of them were as easy as they should have been. Maddie, I don't know if you've heard this. I don't know if you're aware, but there is this team, I think they're in your neighborhood, called the Golden State Warriors.
Yes, the Dubs, they call
Apparently, like, they've already won the championship, and they're just everything that's beautiful and light with the world. They're so awe-inspiring that they are doing what the Cavs should be doing, is what I'm told. So, how do you feel? Are you concerned?
I am concerned, and I don't think I should be. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, my gut level instinct is to be a little worried, because I didn't think the Cavs played especially. Mm-hmm. They did not play well this week. They played very crappy for large portions of games.
Most of the first
that they've done in week 1. I think their week 1 schedule doesn't look as daunting now as it did then, with the Grizzlies playing pretty horribly, the Bulls not being
that good,
so very good at all. Although the Bulls blew out the Sixers in Philly tonight, and even the Heat. The Heat are still figuring their stuff out. So I don't know that any of those wins or that loss look so amazing or anything now. So a little, but I think ultimately the voice in the back of my head says I don't think they got up for any of those games. I think they rightly disrespect the Sixers and the Knicks.
Yep.
They're still missing 3 of their top 4 backcourt players.
Mm-hmm.
3 of their top 3 backcourt players, depending on how you feel about J.R. Smith.
Yeah, he's top 3.
In the season, they haven't figured. I think all of that holds true. So in an ideal world, I'd like them to be blowing people out, but I also am one for not a quick start, and we know, and this team knows, that it's so much more important how they finish than how they start. So I'm happy to get the wins and bank them, and worry about crappy play in April.
Yeah, I mean, this team is equipped to be blowing out all these teams, but we are still missing a lot of key players. I mean,
and we didn't shoot great either. That's the other thing. We're getting a lot of open threes.
Wide open threes and missing them. Exactly.
That doesn't worry me so much with these guys.
No, I agree. I'm not too worried about these guys. They, there's more to be encouraged about watching this team versus last year.
So much more. I mean, that's the mistake we made, Pat, in being nervous about the start of the season. Mistake, I don't know. We were worried about that. 1, this team had a year together last year. That matters. 2, the improvements we made are very real.
Yep.
Jettison, Perkins and Haywood and Miller and Marion for the guys that we have in now, inclusive of Cunningham, which we'll talk about in a little bit, is huge difference.
I mean, here's what's bad. Actually, the interesting thing about it, this just occurred to me, is that, like, last year the biggest problem was not so much the offense, which was kind of like rough around the edges and not pretty, and a lot of ISOs, but we had so much talent that we still were scoring a ton of that. We were still like top in the league with offense. It was our defense that was a disaster. Right now, I'm sorry. Anyway, I think I'm losing my point already. But I was going to say that this year our offense is so much better than it ever was last year without Kyrie Irving. The passing is beautiful and crisp, but once again, it's the defense that is the problem. Yeah. Our defense, we're missing some key players. Like Kyrie Irving, known as a great defender, but he's better than Mo Williams. He was last year, at least. He worked his way up to that, and he has some great moments. Shump obviously is a huge, good defensive presence on the perimeter. JR, when he's not playing like an idiot, is important, and he's not even out there right now. So when I see us struggling against bad teams, it's mostly because we're not playing really good defense. We're letting them get a lot of post position deep before the ball even gets in there.
Yeah.
One thing I've seen a lot of, and it was nice. I was listening to Papa Carr and Fred McLeod, and they were reiterating what they hear Coach Blatt say a lot, which is something along the lines of, you've got to work before the ball gets there. Like, that's where the work is done.
Yeah.
It's not about doing the work once they get the ball. You need to fight to keep them out of that position. That's where all the work has to happen. Once the ball's there, that's just the finish. All the work has to happen before that. And they haven't been doing it. The Pacers were eating us alive on the boards, in the post, and they shouldn't. They have some big guys, but they're not going to be a great rebounding team like they were in the past.
Now, we'll talk about that. I'm sort of bullish on the Pacers.
Oh, I am too, but I feel like we let ourselves get bullied around. Now, maybe that's because they're that good and they can bully us around, but they really push us around. The Heat did too a lot.
Part of it is effort on our end. I think part of it is I need Mozgov to be a better rebounder than he is.
He still doesn't seem right as a defensive presence.
Yeah.
I think he's still feeling out his knee. Although there was one nice thing we saw in Mozgov.
How about that, buddy?
Beautiful. Smooth.
Now, what I did not like was I think the play before the half when they that's what they went to was a Mozgov 3 from the corner.
Yeah.
It's that can happen once this year. I don't need him shooting another one.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of him getting caught outside the arc with the shot clock about to expire, which should never happen because he should be down by the basket in that situation anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Once was enough. This is not going to turn into a Z situation, I don't think, with him.
I was just about to say that. That was the thing we started doing with Z in his last year, right? We started trying to kick him out to the corner for slip-out threes. I don't know.
I'd rather he start being able to hit the 12 to 15-foot shot consistently before we bump him out all the way.
Here's where I disagree. I don't want him. He's got decent form on it. Here's what I think. I think
his jump shot better right now, Pat. How about that?
Who? TT's looking great, by the way. But hold on, but hear me out.
All right, but this is good. You're going someplace I don't like, Pat. But keep going. You're getting riled up.
I'm going someplace you don't like. I don't see what they see in practice. Okay, so that caveat out there. I'm assuming they're seeing something that in practice he actually has a nice stroke and is hitting, practice threes at like a 40 or 50% clip or something like that. Or I don't know, whatever it might be in practice, right? I mean, guys can hit threes. Like, what's his name? Chris Humphries was hitting threes in practice, whatever, but he's not a three-point threat. The game is obviously very different. But let's say he's hitting a lot in his practice routine. I can see them giving him that shot from one specific shot. Like they say, Mozzie, you're going to take 100 shots from here at corner, and just watch his progress. If he keeps hitting those, it's just that one little play that pops out at random. Not every game, but every 2 or 3 games, we just pop that out there for like a random 3. If that adds up to high 30s percentage, it's a great fucking play. That's what I say.
All right, fine. I'll watch for that.
I do not want him trying to develop a 10 to 12 footer because I don't want him settling for that shot. That's not his game. We have too many weapons on this team for him to be shooting that shot unless he's going to hit it more frequently. Varejao, happy for him to shoot that. TT as an escape valve, fine.
That's what I was going to say. Is that one of our big men outside of Love to be able to hit that? And we'll get to Andy next, maybe.
Yeah, let's get to him now.
Increasingly looking like that might not be Andy this year.
Well, I don't want to keep talking. What am I kidding? So, of course I do. But let me give my thoughts real quick, and then I'll let you run with it. I think a lot of this is about matchups. The one thing he's really lost a lot of his step-ons on defense. His speed isn't there. He's got good offensive rebounding, but he's mostly an offensive player now, which is a weird reverse. Maybe he's getting back in the game. Don't see the same criticism, which doesn't mean that he's a liability. I mean, God, Cavs Twitter is so fucking quick. When I say Cavs Twitter, I mostly mean WFNY and Cavs the blog. Cavs the blog, sorry. Fear the Sword. Cavs the blog is with Tom Pestak and guys like that. They're usually more respectful of Andy's tenure. But man, they dump on him so quick if he's having a bad game or getting beat up on defense. They just it's like he's they talk about like he's Perkins.
Yep.
Which is bullshit. He was never as bad as Perkins in any stretch of the imagination on defense or offense. Perkins is awful and worthless on the court, except for beating up Jay Crowder.
Yeah. Good at that.
But Andy has lost steps. So I think the point is that Andy can get matched up out of games, and that's why he got a couple of DMP coaches' decisions.
Do you think the Pacers was a weird one for him to get matched up out of, though?
I guess it's because those guys are big, maybe, but they're also really fast and athletic too, right? They're really young and fast. They aren't like big plundering guys, Yeah,
I don't want him on Miles Turner. I'm with you there.
No,
Gordon Hill scares me less.
Yes, no, he's pretty quick though. Like Zaza Pachulia, yeah, put him on him. Marcin Gortat, yes, put him on him. There's certain guys that I'm fine with Andy being out there and holding his own against. I think it's a matchup thing. So you will see him a lot, but you're right. He's not going to be out there every single game. And there might be series where he's mashed out entirely, unless there's foul trouble.
I guess the other thing to think about there, too, is they might just be trying to save
him, too.
His legs.
That's also possible.
Right? If they think he's got 50 games in him this year or something like that, they'll be thoughtful about how and when they deploy him.
Exactly, and I feel like Andy is going to surprise all the Cavs Twitter the way that Delly surprised them in the playoffs. Because I mean, another guy that Cavs Twitter was incredibly hostile about early in the season last year was Delly.
Oh yeah,
continually. There were a few people like me and others that were kind of almost ironically supporting him. I know he's terrible, but I kind of like him, which is sort of my attitude for him early in the year. I was like, you know what? There might be. A lot of people kept saying he's the kind of guy that's going to start come out of nowhere and be useful in the playoffs, right? Even though he's objectively terrible,
right?
Because he was last year. He's objectively terrible. I remember watching Iguodala or something like that drive past him, and he literally dove to try and keep up with him. It was terribly embarrassing. But he came around and figured shit out in the system. And I just feel Ed's got too much talent to not be useful and not be able to not be terrible on defense. And that's all we really need from him these days. We don't need him to be the defensive, he was never that great at defense. That was kind of a
he was pretty good at defense, man.
He was okay. I think his defense was overrated.
Okay? That sounds like you think he was average. I think he was better than average.
If I'm just restricting him to his defense, Matty, just defense, he was average. What made him maybe above average was his ability to chase out on those hedges, right? He was one of those two guys that
makes him above average.
No, fair enough. Defense. Fair enough. But above average is the best I want to say about him. Because he couldn't, once he got in the post, he was not that good.
He's not a great one-on-one post defender against the beasts out there, right? You're not putting one-on-one against Cousins, as I watch Boogie play right now.
Yeah.
But great help defender. Pat, do you forget all the charges he used to take?
No, he does. He took a lot of charges. That was
Don't you forget about those times?
No, I don't forget about those
times. Are you forgetting about the good times with Andy, Pat? Is that what's happening?
Right. Maybe I'm forgetting a little bit.
If that's true.
No, I'm trying to be realistic, Matty, about because what most of his value is. Yeah, you're right. The charges I did neglect to include that in my defensive rating in my mind. Most of it is the offensive rebounding, the rebounding in general, which is part of defensive rebounding, sure. But his greatest value was to me offensive rebounding, pick and roll savvy around the rim, just completely invaluable. And he could hold his own on defense and occasionally be a plus guy, right? So
I think he was a plus guy on defense. He was not the greatest one-on-one post defender against certain quality offensive big men. That was
You're right.
That was more than made up for by his positive qualities.
You know what? I'm taking it back. I'm letting Cavs Twitter infect my opinions.
Yeah.
This happens. I've grown soft. I've grown soft as a libertarian. Working at HuffPost, even though I'm still libertarian, I've got a little softer on the edges because just being surrounded by nonsense constantly. You just get soft, Matty.
I'm glad to bring you back.
Thank you for setting me straight. Yes, he was plus defender. But now, we just need to be average, right?
Yes.
If he's average, he's a huge help.
Yep. Change of pace against the right team in the right place. I think that's where we see him. I don't think it's a sign of anything else. I don't think he's going to get the Sean Marion treatment for the rest of the year, for instance.
No, I don't think so. I think that Blatt loves him too much in terms of what he's put in and how much he speaks up for him. I'd be surprised if he get. I mean, I think you're right. If anything, Blatt's going to find reasons not to play him.
Yeah.
Just to give him rest. It'll get him in there if he's been sitting, quietly. But
Patty, how have you felt about Kevin Love's play this week? What'd you think?
I've been loving it, except for his shot being a little bit off. I feel like it's been frustrating me. Like, damn, he used to hit more threes than this, right? Better percentage. It's a great piece by Jason Lloyd.
Yes, and his
final thoughts. His final thoughts about how Love was kind of rough early in the first half. He was 2 of 6, I think. And almost all of those shots were from 3-point range. It was like a flashback to last year.
A lot of jump shots or 3-pointers.
Yeah, jump shots or 3-pointers. They're all average distance was like 15 to 17 feet or something like that. And LeBron came up and approached him and said, "Hey man, your energy is too low on offense. Like don't worry about your defense is great. You're doing good there, but like that's not where we need you. We need you to get your energy up on offense." And then Love apparently said back to him, he's like, "You know what, man? I need to get in the post more. It gets me going. I need to start on the inside and work my way out, and it gets me into rhythm. It gets me animated. It just gets my head in the right spot. It's better for me." So LeBron started working him in the post, and he got a few shots in the post, and he started getting outside and he hit those 2 3-pointers. He took 2 3-pointers in the second half. He hit both of them. I mean, their relationship in general, aside from that weird moment where I forget we talked about this last week, where Love fell. Look around him or over him. Is that this week, right? One of our loyal non-cast fan listeners, who also happens to work for me, Julian McWilliams asked me about that, and I was like, yeah, LeBron gets in moods. He was in a bad mood that whole game. He was. I mean, that was the least bizarre behavior he did that night. That was the sleeve.
Driving crazy.
Those shirts, I know. His sleeve he was a shirt fucking hard. So I think that's the least thing. I think he was irritated in general. I don't think that was anything specific to Kevin Love, especially because just everything else speaks to the love affair he has for Kevin Love. Although it bears watching. It bears watching that I don't think Love and LeBron are natural friends. Clearly, they don't naturally mesh, and it's like a marriage you work at, Maddie. I guess it's all marriages, but that's the cliche people say. But this is one that I think they both had to work hard at. But it looks like they're both committed to working at it. And
they're workplace proximity associates, or whatever.
Maddie, are they work husbands? You know the concept, work wife, work husband.
They don't have that kind of relationship. That was a Ron Swansonism that I don't think I quite got right from Parks and Rec.
I like to watch a lot of Parks and Rec, but a lot of references to go over my head. What was the reference? Explain it. That always makes it.
That's
better.
How we referred to his relationship with Leslie Knope. I think it was workplace proximity associates. Associates the wrong word, but workplace proximity something.
That's good. That's good.
They're fun. I don't need them to be best buddies. They got a little handshake together. That's all I need.
No, and they have fun.
Patty, how about the kid? How about the kid who's not such a kid, Cunningham?
I think he looks great. Look, I mean, dismayed and surprised by how many threes he took. But they were within the offense. Still, it's like that. Ooh, that's the kind of thing where we left certain guys in the playoffs out on the 3-point line, saying, "Yeah, that's the rhythm of the offense. Go ahead, take that shot.
Yep.
Be my guest." If teams are smart, that's gonna bite us in the ass. They just let us take that shot.
I like how much he likes to take it to the hoop, though.
Yeah, and finish. He's good at finishing. Look, he is a great 15th man. That is a fun 15th man to have. It looks.
I think he's leapfrogged Harris.
Clearly,
minimum our 14th man. And
you're right. Harris can't get any fucking court time.
And over Sasha Khan, I think he's our 13th man.
You're right. He's the 13th man, the 13th warrior, if you will. No, never mind. I don't like that. I was referencing a Antonio Banderas movie, which is questionable.
It was a Michael Crichton novel, wasn't it?
It was a Michael Crichton novel. I almost said a Michael Crichton movie, but he wasn't in the movie. It was Antonio Banderas.
They made the movie.
it was questionable to begin with, this reference that I made, but then it just reminded me of that team that I hate. So this gets even worse.
So Patty, before we go to the kill list, any other Cavs players notes you want to talk about?
Off the top of my head, as you did this rundown, I didn't break through everything. TBS still looks pretty good. As loyal listeners know who TBS is. Do you know who TBS is, right?
What are you talking about? The black
tall black scooter.
Oh, tall black scooter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tall black scooter.
He's been great still.
Has been fantastic. I've been pleased with him. His shot came back down to earth a little bit, but not like terribly so. He didn't go on a huge regression. He's still taking good shots. And when his shot wasn't, making, you could see him like hesitating that shot a little bit. And you see a little bit of hesitation that Dallas fans were concerned about. I saw our offense kind of stalled out a little bit this week. The passing stopped being as crisp and the offense kind of stalled down, but it would come back. Like, kept working back towards it, and it comes through in the clutch, in those really clutch moments. And last night's game was sealed by a beautiful play that LeBron and Blatt worked out together. Blatt tried to give LeBron credit, and LeBron eventually gave. I'm sorry, LeBron tried to give Blatt credit at first, but Blatt gave all the credit to LeBron. He suggested in the timeout that if you've seen the last play, it's basically like a button hook.
Yeah.
In football, right? Kevin Love makes a cut on the baseline to the outside and gets the guy to bite hard and just turns back. And the minute he cut, LeBron started passing the ball. Kevin Love got the ball free under the basket and put it in. It was a beautiful basket. And like that kind of like offense is just like, it just makes me so happy. I've missed that. We never had that really, honestly, with LeBron's first Cavs, right? We had a little bit in the last year or two when Mike Brown had the offensive coordinator. But it was once in a while. It was like a few convoluted plays. Don Keister, right? John Keister, and then it was like a few plays, and then it was just isolation the rest of the night, right?
Yep.
So it's nice seeing this being worked into like the fabric of the team. Even when they're playing in rhythm, when they're coming out of timeouts, like just nice plays. It's nice to see. So I'm still very encouraged because the offense is so much more crisp and the defense can be fixed. We're going to have a reckoning at some point because this team is still, rough around the edges. It still has this moping moment. It took a halftime speech from James Jones after the second Sixers game to get our acting together. We were down at the half to those fuckers. He gave that speech and we went off on a 17-point run, and we still have them back in the game at the end.
Oh yeah, big time.
So we got our shit to work out, but I think a lot of that's having to do with the personnel, not being all there, and But that's one thing to watch out for, Matty. If I have a pessimistic note to leave out on is, we brought Mo Williams onto this team. I don't put all this on Mo. But, Mo kind of encapsulates that attitude of he's resilient, but he can kind of get brittle and choke a little bit.
Yep.
Meaning, you get a little swept up, you get a little too overconfident and cocky, and you get tight, and you don't play as well. And this team shows a little bit of that, And we have our swagger, but we get tight. So, to get to our kill list soon, that is actually a trait of the Golden State Warriors that does happen. We saw it a couple of times in the season. We saw it during the playoffs, but they're so good that they can overcome. So we gotta nip that shit in the bud. So that's something to keep an eye out for as the games go on this year.
Yeah, especially against real competition. Which we didn't really have too much of this week. All right, Patty, let's keep moving because I think we've got less than 30 minutes, and you were in a mood to gab tonight. Kill list. Anybody?
Matty, am I never in a mood to gab? I mean, is this an unusually heavy?
Tonight is not different.
Gab night. I know.
That's true.
Tonight is like all other nights.
Patty, anybody this week rise up on your list? I'm suspecting that somebody in particular made you a little angry because I had a long series of text messages with you about it. So did a certain somebody make his way into your top 5?
Yeah. I'm making my list right now. But by virtue of not having played Dwayne Wade this week, He's out of my top 5.
Who made it? Tell our listeners.
James Harden also is. James Harden is also out of my top 5. So Dwayne Wade was number 5 last week.
Yeah.
James Harden was number 4. They both fall out of my top 5. Wade because we didn't play him. Harden because he I don't know, I just saw this one gif of him being a total dick and it made me laugh, so I took him out of my 5.
Okay.
You also aren't playing him. Basically, somebody asked him about his early struggles in the year and has he kind of put that one of those kind of questions about what did you do to get yourself back in the game? Something like a question that forces a player to acknowledge he was sucking earlier, right?
Yes.
It was one of those underhanded shitty questions, right? And all James Harden did he just gave this long eye roll towards the reporter, leaned in towards him, and then just turned and walked away. That was it. That was his answer to the question. It's like one of those I'm not even mad. That's so spectacularly inappropriate, and it makes for a great gif, by the way.
So that dropped him out of your top 5.
Yeah, he was being such a dick that he actually dropped out of my top 5. So one guy who made it in, Maddie, is our old friend Kelly Olynyk.
Oh, really?
Yes. Kelly Olynyk, he's been playing well this year. He's hitting a lot of threes. Everyone's so excited about how amazing he's going to be this year. Because,
is he not uncoordinated anymore?
He's not uncoordinated anymore. Apparently, that shocking experience where he accidentally yanked Kevin Love's arm out of his socket after being told to play dirty. Physical by boy genius Brad Stevens. Kelly Olynyk apparently is hitting threes and playing really well. And somebody was saying to him, teams are trying to leave you open. And he made some cocky comment about, I hope they keep leaving me open. Just the fact that he popped up on my radar at all in any way, shape, and form as a good player just automatically bumps him to the top 5. I fucking hate that guy, and I want him.
He might be number 1 for me now.
I want him to get hurt so fucking bad, or at least to be just embarrassed in the dunk, just so fucking bad, just fucking hippie. So he's number 5. Chris Paul falls back to number 4 only because I don't know. He hadn't done anything to really piss me off. They lost. I wanted them to win. Not doing anything really to get out of the top 5, but he stays in the top 5 because he is just truly a son of a bitch.
Oh yeah, he really is.
He's such
the
a
biggest
son of a bitch
in the league.
I gotta take Paul Pierce out of the running for this slot. I have a slot for certain players.
Yeah,
it's all Chris Paul now. Paul Pierce needs to get out of there. However, there is one team that does have 2 guys still in my top, have their own slot. So Steph Curry's now in my top 3.
Yes. Thank you. It's about time.
Jesus fucking Christ! This past fucking week, can we fucking stop? He hit 1 of 9 3-pointers the other night. Oh, hey Maddie, if that one game goes the rest of the year, he's gonna have the worst 3-point shooting season of anyone of all time. Did you know that?
That's true.
It's amazing. Because everything I was reading before that game was that he was going to hit 600 3-pointers. Whatever. Steph Curry is hotter than anyone on the fucking planet. That I will give him. He's terrifying. It makes no sense. It's almost like not even fun to watch basketball. It's like NBA Jam ridiculousness. There's no strategy. There's no X and O's. It's just he's going to hit shit and you're fucked. That kind of sucks in a way, I get how it's exciting for any non team fan. If you're just a fan of basketball, it's exciting, right, from the randomness. It's exciting in terms of March Madness basketball, but from you root for a team to do well, it fucking sucks. Unless you're a Warriors fan.
Patty, can I tell you something that's going to make you
please.
Madder?
Yes, tell me.
There's a meme that I saw going around out here that was so the Warriors have and their fans have a huge chip on their shoulder about they got lucky stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But particularly around all the injuries that happened, not just with the Cavs, but all the other Mike Conley and Patrick Beverley and whoever else.
Yeah.
Drew Holiday. And so there's a meme going around that says, missing our starting center and coach, but still beat the Rockets and Grizzlies this week. But I'm just like, and then they have a picture of Steph Curry drinking 2 different drinks from 2 different straws in his mouth. Like, but don't ask me. And sort of looking away.
It's the sipping tea thing. It's
yes, very much like that. Like that Kermit sipping tea thing that's going on. Yes.
Yeah.
Infuriating.
I can't put that on Steph Curry. That's on Warriors fans, just Dubs fans being just
missing our starting center who we had to bench last year because he's so terrible.
That's gonna start a new meme for me. Like when Cunningham is injured or there's a DMP coach's decision, I'd be like, hey, missing Cunningham. But I'm like, assholes.
All right, so Steph Curry 3 for you?
He's 3 for me. You know, it just doesn't strike the fact that, like, I remember watching. I was checking on the score of the Clippers Warriors game. The Clippers were down by like 5. That's it. It was a close game. I kid you not, all 6 of the fucking highlights of that game were Steph Curry, jizz, like just blow my load on the screen. It's just fucking Steph Curry cum all over the goddamn screen. It's just like, dude, the Clippers are playing a fucking good game. Could you fucking get your ass, like, get Steph Curry's dick out of your goddamn mouth?
Yeah.
And I don't know. God damn it. Draymond Green's still number 2 because it's fuck him. And Mike Dunleavy, it's going to take a lot to get him on number 1. He's just he still hasn't played. He's still just a menace to society and gets away with it because he's white. So he gets number 1. You, Maddie?
I think my top 5 is the same of Olynyk, Dunleavy, Curry, Noah, and Green. I think Olynyk is
agreement, Maddie. Agreement, Maddie. We're in agreement on our top 5. I think for the first time. No.
No, I've got Noah in there, and you got Paul.
Oh shit! Never mind. Sorry.
Olynyk up a little, Curry up a little, Noah down, and Dunleavy down just because the Bulls aren't so good, and I haven't had to see them. Mm-hmm. My list is not going to change until we lose a game and somebody does something that makes me mad. Honestly, that's what's going to have to. That's when it'll start to move for me.
That's how Steph Curry got on my list.
Yeah. All right, so that's a kill list. Let's run quickly through the teams we saw this week. Impressions of the Sixers.
You know what? The Sixers are a team that. How do I put this? Like, they scare me 2 years from now. Does that make sense? They're terrifying 2 years from now. Like they get like 1 or 2 pieces, and they are a terrifying team because of. I mean, even last year when they just had Noel, right? They, their speed and athleticism. I remember the Cavs would have these couple plays, right? Great series of passes, and perfect basketball. We get the ball out of the hoop for a bunny, and those guys close from like 6 feet out to like block the shot or alter the shot. And I was just like, Jesus, what do you do about that, right?
Yeah.
So now they got a Kafer who isn't really a plus on defense at all. So there's no real change there, but he's just a beast on the offensive end. And
a nice compliment with Noel.
Noel can clean up after him, watch after him, and I don't know how they work in. Who's their third?
Embiid.
Embiid. I don't know how. I
really wish they'd taken a wing.
Yeah, but
I can't remember who was in that. Who they could have had. I'll look it up while we're chatting.
I get what they were doing,
I do too. They didn't know they were going to get Okafor the next year, but it's just
exactly. And they can trade if Embiid comes back and is actually a real player, like they can trade, any one of those 3 for just how it suits them, right?
Yeah.
So, but that's the point. If those 3 are all as good as they were projected, holy shit, they can trade those guys for a fucking great player. Yeah. And one fucking great wing makes that team super scary.
Yeah,
it's super scary, meaning like you just know what their potential is. But I don't know. I feel like in the same way that Milwaukee scares me because of their freakish length, right?
Yeah.
We haven't played them yet. We haven't seen them, and they've been up and down a little bit this year. But those teams with length and speed are like game changers in the way that the Warriors have sort of been game changers, right? In terms of what you expect is a good team.
Yeah.
So I don't know they're gonna be great, but they're good enough that they scare me.
Those pieces, they play hard too. You got to give that to the coach, man.
He's a good coach.
For a team that's losing like that, he's got a terrible record in his career, but they get after it. all those guys. I mean, part of it I think is that they're just sort of auditioning guys for careers in some ways, and so guys are super motivated to do that.
Yep.
But it's impressive. Isaiah Cannon was impressive in that game. They were missing Covington and Kendall Marshall and Tony Roten too, who are.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I mean,
I was just looking at it. They didn't have great options outside of Embiid there. I mean, they could have taken the next handful of guys after that were Aaron Gordon, Dante Exum, Marcus Smart, Julius Randle. I think Smart would have been the pick there. I would have had a tough time doing that over Embiid. They would have traded down or something.
I mean, Julius.
I think this is just in retrospect. It'd be great for them to have a solid wing.
Yeah, it just
point guard with that pick, but
it would have been great for them to get a number one pick one of these years.
Yeah, no, that's true too. They're getting
so they gotten screwed in the math and on the ping pong balls in the way that the Cavs. Less said about the better, Matt. The only luck the Cavs and Cleveland team ever have is with ping pong balls. The actual games,
right? All right. So what? Knicks? Any thoughts?
I mean, look, the Knicks are better. I'm really impressed. They were awful last year.
Yeah,
they're.
I included them in the stink on ice category in the rundown. That's not fair. They're not that bad.
Well, I don't know. They're pretty bad.
They're not good. They shouldn't make the playoffs, but they're not. They're a real NBA team.
I guess I don't know the technical definition of stink on ice. They're pretty stinky. So, but they are way better than last year. If you're comparing them relatively to last year, they're a good team, and not just because Carmelo is healthy. But even when Carmelo was healthy last year, they just stunk.
Yeah.
But with Porzingis, and, the other guys they've added in the offseason, Robin Lopez and Kyle Quinn, like they had a pretty decent front court there. They had some good guards. Calderon's still starting, but there's two guys that are probably better than him, who are going to start eventually. That's a good, decent, growing team that hopefully they'll add pieces before Carmelo is worthless. He's only got about 4 or 5 more years, like LeBron does, So
no, I was impressed with Porzingis in that game.
Oh yeah, that nasty putback dunk.
Yeah, I think that one was actually Love's fault. Love didn't put a body on him.
No, that's true. That's true. But
still.
he's a big enough guy that can pull that shit off. And I mean, I'm bummed that I could have picked up Porzingis in our fantasy draft and let Dave get him. I was too enamored with D'Angelo Russell, but which is bite me in the ass right now. But we'll see. Yeah, and so Indiana, that's the other team.
Yes,
right? What are your thoughts on Indiana? We talked a little bit about them earlier, but what are your final thoughts on them?
So, Paul George after the game said, "I think we match up well against this team, being the Cavs, and this team doesn't really scare us."
Mm-hmm.
Pacers, I guess, don't scare me, but they give us a hard time. They gave us a hard time last year. Mm-hmm. That is a well-coached squad.
Damn coached, yeah.
They were missing some pieces in that game. These are not names that put fear into you, but Rodney Stuckey and CJ Miles are a big part of what they do.
And they weren't playing.
They gave us all we could handle in that game and then some. Mm-hmm. Paul George is awesome.
Jesus.
I love
terrifying.
So good.
Now, if I can give one little note to tap the brakes on Paul George. I mean, most of the damage he did in that game, right, were a little. I mean, a lot of them were good position shots, but he had a lot of long twos, right? Like not 22, not 20 footers or whatever. Like but like LeBron, that's not going to be there every night. That's not a series long solution.
No,
so that's
a nice piece to have in your arsenal to get people to come play on you when you can fly by them and crush at the rim.
Oh hell yeah. But I would say that they did have a lot of shots. They were hitting those shots like crazy.
Yeah.
So there is that little note to add before we get too concerned about it. But no, they scare me mostly because of how they bullied us under the rim on defense. When we were on defense, they bullied us under the rim, and I didn't look at the numbers, but I'm pretty sure the rebounds were pretty close to even.
They
right?
were almost exactly even, actually. Really,
Yeah.
very, very close.
And before the game, at least the Fox Sports guys were saying how we should be winning the rebound battle with these guys. Now, I mean, you put Mahimi is a big dude. Who are the other guys? Not Jordan Hill, but who else was the third guy?
Miles Turner.
Miles Turner. Yeah, those guys are like kind of strange, fast, big guys, right? That can get those rebounds the way we have Tristan Thompson. But still, you would think that we'd be able to out-rebound that team with Kevin Love, Tristan Thompson, and Moskov. It was a even battle. So that's a concerning point for me because that's a big part of our game is having those rebounds.
I don't think we play them again till February or something. I'll be very interested to watch those games the rest of the year. And I will say right now, I think they make the playoffs, and I do not want to play them.
No,
I think we will beat them. I mean, I think we beat anybody in the East. I think we'd beat them, but they would. They'd give us a hard time.
I'll go one step further and say they're battling for the 5-4 seed for sure.
Ooh, you think they're ahead of the Celtics, Pat?
I think
for that 4 seed?
I think it might be.
Those idiots in the preseason who were saying that.
I haven't watched Celtics for this year, so maybe I'm being premature. But I don't know. Celtics don't have anyone like Paul George.
No, not even close.
So
they're gonna have a hard time making the playoffs this year. Is my prediction. The Celtics.
I that's my preseason prediction. I haven't watched them this year, so I don't know if they're that much better. But I think the Celtics should be 7-8 seed, at best 6. But I really don't see the Raptors and the Wizards and the Pistons beating out the Pacers. Pistons look great, by the way.
Pistons have been good. I haven't gotten to see them play yet, so I guess I can't say they've looked good. But
I've only watched little bits and pieces for fantasy, but like they look good, and Drummond looks like terrifying.
Yes,
terrifying. He got the ball like 7 feet from the post, took one dribble and just like knifed the paint like there was no one there, and just violently dunked the ball. It was terrifying.
You think it was a mistake taking Dion Waiters over him?
Matt, I don't want to jump to conclusions here. Dion Waiters, I'm told, could be the next Dwayne Wade. So, I mean,
that's true.
Unless you want to pass Dwayne Wade for this guy who might be better than Dwight Howard ever was, sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
Fuck.
All right, Patty. Let's kick it to the home stretch. So
let's do it.
I had one note on handshake analysis, which was that I caught a awesome James Jones handshake after he hit a big 3 in the first Sixers game.
Yeah.
Which was a version of the shocker. I think we all know that without the thumb, interlocked around the ring finger. It was quite impressive.
Who did he do it with?
Kevin Love.
That's suspect.
One to watch, Patty. One to watch for sure.
I'm gonna look forward to that one. That one's that one sounds special.
Yeah.
All
right. So
win
predictions for this week. We've got 3 games. Home against Utah on Tuesday, and then back-to-back on the road. Another back-to-back road series for us. A little cruel, but whatever. Friday in New York, Patty, against the Knicks. You going to that game?
Ooh.
Oh no, you have 2 small children. And then Saturday in Milwaukee. So what do you think they do?
Let's see here. This is rough. I'm going to stick with our pessimistic outlook and say 1-2.
1-2. Whew. Get some of the starch taken out of them, huh?
You know what? We 2-1 is certainly possible. I would be shocked if we go 3-0. Put it that way. Okay. 2-1, I think is the ceiling. I mean, look. Of course, we can win all 3. This is the Cavs. But Utah is fucking hot.
Yeah.
That defense is a beast.
Favors and Gobert, man.
It looks great.
Front line.
Exactly. Utah's coming off a huge rest. They're very well rested, so maybe that works in their favor. Maybe it doesn't. But that's a dangerous game. 1, 2. You never know about the. I think Knicks is the one that we're definitely going to win.
And Milwaukee will be an interesting test.
Milwaukee, that's the one I'm nervous about. That's why I'm like, we could definitely go 1-2. You know what? I'll change it to 2-1. I think that's most likely the outcome. I wanted to veer on the side of pessimism just because it was working for us so far. But no, I think 2-1 is most likely. But there's a real chance we go 1-2.
Yeah.
I think Utah and Milwaukee are both dangerous teams, and if we are not sharp, the shots not falling, we're in trouble. But honestly,
especially Milwaukee after a night in New York.
Exactly. And the thing is, though, but I will say in our favor, I don't think we're this bad of a three-point shooting team.
No, I think that's going to come around. We're going to have go through a hotter stretch here.
Exactly. So that's going to carry us through some other kind of hiccups, I think.
Yeah. I'd love to see them come out strong and put it to the Jazz tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm.
I agree that's not a given. I'd love to see that. Get up for some better competition. And,
I would love to see that. I'd love to see us just
see what we do. I'm gonna agree with you, Pat. I'm gonna go 2-1.
Okay.
Okay. So our last little bit, our most likely to. Last week we said who's most likely to get a T. There were no T's.
No T's.
Similarly, our other question.
You know what though? It's kind of an asterisk because J.R. Smith didn't play.
That's true. That helps. As well as there was no physical skirmishes. There was no J.R. Smith.
Exactly.
Most likely to be an Instagram hero. I don't know that anybody stuck out for me this week. You?
I didn't see anything.
Nah, Mo was doing his usual weird stuff, but nothing interesting.
You know what? Actually, God, if I can remember this. I can remember this. I might nominate. It's not really a Cav. It's a former Cav, but Boobie Gibson had some kind of a tweet that said something along the lines of chicken wings are proof that Jesus exists.
Whoa.
That Jesus is real. I'm pretty sure he tweeted that, and I almost retweeted it, but I didn't for some reason, just because I was like, do I need to explain the tweet? But I should have retweeted it. I'm gonna go grab it now after the podcast and retweet that.
Right.
So let's say Boobie Gibson. Surprise Instagram hero. Yes. Most assists.
Our most assist category, Patty, you won this one. I chose Delhi. You picked LeBron. LeBron got it. 31 from LeBron this week, helped by a big 13 against the Sixers in the second game.
Sixers, that's right. That's where he almost did.
Delhi at 26 and then Mo with 24, I think. Nice assist totals there from Delhi, by the way. 6+ a game out of your back.
He's been crushing it. He had one really bad game where he came back down to earth, but he bounced right back.
One assist in one game. I think in that same game where Bron had 13, I'm pretty sure.
And he had a couple of really bad moments. But I love that the Delhi TT lob is still happening almost every game. It's like once a game. It's like Old Faithful.
Did you figure out a nickname for it, Pat? That was your assignment for this week.
I forgot. I have my dog.
Dog.
I don't have a dog. I have a new son. He pooped on my idea, and I forgot it. So.
That's that. Well, let's keep working on it. I haven't seen anything great for it out there yet.
No. We got to work on that though. But Old Faithful might be a guide though, because it is sort of like clockwork a little bit.
Yeah.
It's one of those things you look for every game for it to happen at least once, and then you'd be like, "Hey, there it happens." So I think that might be where we can kind of work with this.
Patty, do you have? Let's just do these off the cuff, and we'll just do one each. What's your most likely to? What do you want to nominate? Not nominate, but
next week, most likely to. I'll propose something to you, and you pick the player. Should we do that?
We'll each pick one, and we'll each do our predictions. We'll just do one each.
All right. Next, most likely to surprise with a handshake.
Oh,
with a new handshake.
Oh, that's good. I am gonna say. I'm gonna say Mr. Jared Cunningham. Starting to feel it, getting taken under LeBron's wing a little bit.
Good choice.
Starting to have some moments. He could get some run this week. I haven't seen if JR is expected back yet or not. I got to imagine JR is going to show up for that Knicks game on Friday. So they might Tuesday night might be the time. I'm going to go Cunningham. What about you?
I was thinking about this while you were answering. There's so many that are obvious. We already have some good ones for them. JR would be very unlikely. Not JR, sorry. TBS, Tallback Scooter.
Yes.
Versus Jefferson. RJ would be unlikely to have any kind of hand things. I don't know Varejao, because Varejao didn't have a good one the last time LeBron came off. I've never actually seen him do one.
Ooh, yeah.
Cunningham, you have a right call. I would put Cunningham too, but because I don't want to pick the same guy, I'm going to say Varejao, because last time I went through, LeBron didn't see anything, it was too late, and he just gave him a big tap in the chest, hey buddy, love you, all that stuff, and didn't have a chance to get into it. I want to see Varejao get into it with somebody, so I'm going to say Varejao.
And not the nut tap that he got from Kyrie in the playoffs last year.
Oh, that was the fucking best. That was so perfect. That little nut tap.
All right,
yours?
Petty. My question, I'm going to say, who leads the team in three-pointers made over these 3 games? Not percentage, but three-pointers made.
I'm going to say Kevin Love. Because he's been missing a lot of them. And I think he's going to start feeling it next week. And he's just going to go off one night and get 6 3-pointers. And that's going to help him. That's what I'm going to say.
Ooh, I like that. I'd love to see that. God, part of me wants to pick JR to say that he's going to come back in New York and just go bonkers and have a 9 3-pointer game.
Yep.
And so screw it. I'm going to say J.R. Smith to
nice.
Come back and go bonkers in New York.
Nice. Good call. My wild card would be Mo Williams. He's always.
Yes, Mo was the other one I was thinking about.
Yep.
He's been a little cold, although he was actually shooting extremely well before the last game.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
All right, Patty. So one last thing for me before the wrap. You might have seen this on Twitter today. Dave McMenamin revealed to me, anyway, that there is a new Uncle Drew commercial that is debuting, I think, November 12th.
What?
Not November 12th. That's this. November 22nd, maybe.
This is mind blowing, Maddie. This is huge news.
Wait, no. Was it November 12th? And that they're playing the Knicks. Yeah, this is actually the more I talk
Thursday.
About it, the crazier it sounds. That's Thursday. He was suggesting perhaps that Kyrie will come back because of that. That seems crazy now that I say it out loud.
That's
Kyrie's
crazy.
Back.
Two
this week.
What the fuck, Maddie? When did he shoot this motherfucker?
Right? Was he out on a court this summer?
Not shooting in the middle of last season. I'll be so mad if he's doing a fucking Pepsi commercial. One of the things I'm upset about, one of many things, but low down, 5, 6, 7th on the list of things I'm upset about with the kneecap injury was fuck, we're not getting any Uncle Drew commercials this summer. I assume that was out of the cards.
Yeah. Well, maybe they'll have him on. Maybe they'll have him coaching and on crutches on the sideline or something.
Oh, that you know what, that makes sense. That makes sense to play off his injury, right? Part of it.
Yeah.
And to show how he can teach his young bloods and get new. He'll have the makeup and he'll get some new young bloods in there.
That'd be good. Who do you think's going to join him? Is Kevin Love going to be in it?
I think Kevin Love's got to be in it for sure. They got to bring West back.
Robinson's still in it?
Ooh, that could be tricky given the fact that he's on basketball right now.
The women's player that they had in it last time. They got to add somebody new.
Yeah, they got somebody new, but they got to bring Kevin Love back because now they're on the same team. There's that camaraderie, so that's got to be in there. But there's got to be somebody new. Who would it be? Pepsi. Who doesn't have a soft drink sponsor yet?
I mean, most of these guys. I don't know that any you could pick somebody and they'd probably be okay.
It's not Russ. It's not Russell Westbrook. He's got a Sprite deal.
That's true. Sprite's owned by no, they're not. No, sorry, Sprite's owned by Coke. Wiggins? Is it too early for a Wiggins commercial?
Ooh, Wiggins would be nice. It's a great call, actually.
I haven't seen him in anything.
No, he's really athletic, and so he get real crazy.
Right? He looked crazy. Old man too. He's so skinny.
Oh yeah.
Old skinny.
He's already got the crazy hair.
Yeah.
The Wiggins call is really good. We haven't had a big man. I guess Kevin Love's the one big man.
Right, and I guess the reason why not Wiggins is that he probably wants to carry his own stuff. So you got to get those next level guys that are.
How about Karl Anthony Towns? Cat.
I don't think he's enough of a name yet.
Yeah, but he might be the under the radar guy. Well, like Nate Robinson's is a big name.
Yeah, that's.
And he's got that freak athleticism. Get in there.
Well, I look forward to it.
This is exciting. It's exciting. Yeah. This is great breaking news, Maddie.
Yeah.
All
Enjoy.
righty. Well, it's 11:29, Maddie. We're just 1 minute under the cap here. So I'd say that's it for the Cleveland Sports Hour.
I think so.
We will be back next week with hopefully more Cavs news than Browns news. When is the bye again, Maddie? God, how?
Week after this, Browns Steelers this week.
Oh,
I think the Monday night game.
Browns Steelers. Oh, God damn it. All right, so one more week of this shit, and then we get a bye week, and then we can kind of sort of ignore them for a while, right?
Yeah, we'll do a countdown to the number 1 pick, all that kind of stuff, I think.
Yeah, exactly. All right, until next time, this is Maddie and Patty saying, friendship. Not bad.
All right.